Filipi 1 ayatnya yang ke-27 sampai 30. Now, while you are opening those verses, I have a story for you. You know, pahlawan tanpa tanda jasa. You know that? Siapa pahlawan tanpa tanda jasa? Teacher, right? Teachers are, what is it? Pahlawan tanda, apa itu?
Hero without medal.
Hero without medal, yes. Nowadays, to become a teacher is very hard, right? Because in the past, when things are in trouble, you can always scold children, right? But now, teachers have to be careful because if anything happens, you know, they are the ones who are in trouble, not the students, right? Everything you generally, sometimes, you know, generally in Indonesia, when there are problem at school, always the parents will quickly come and, you know, complain, kok ibu begini, kok bapak begini, they never blame it at their children, right? Kayaknya anaknya tuh santo dan santa, gitu, right? All the kids are blameless, innocent little lamb, gitu kan? So the teachers have to be very super extra careful, right? Don't touch, right? If the teachers touch, bam! Tuhan Yesus datang kedua kali, gitu kan? It's scary. And the thing is, when I sometimes notice that, is that it goes like this. I mean, this is like, when I observe that phenomenon, it's like, it's interesting. We can be so quick to defend things that might not be true. Kita begitu cepat membela sesuatu yang belum tentu benar. In this case, the status of our kids. Perhaps he has been naughty, right? But we don't bother to investigate because it's my kid. He is awesome. He is a saint. Or Santa, right? So don't bother to investigate. You know, I'm going to defend him or her at all costs. You know, and you know, we are so quick at protecting our rights, at protecting our ego, at protecting our family. Now, please don't misunderstand. I think this in itself is good. Okay, it's not wrong to protect your kids or your family. But the question today is this: as a believer, okay, as a believer, I'm talking to believers in this room. Sebagai orang percaya, why is it that we are so slow at defending the ultimate truth? Kenapa ya kita begitu lambat membela hal yang pasti benar, yaitu Injil? Things that might not be true, we battle at all costs, right? But things that are true according to the Bible, we're like unsure, right? We are very careful with that. Why is that? Kalau membela anak, tadi saya pagi bilang, membela anak penakut jadi pendekar. Membela Injil, pendekar jadi penakut. When it comes to children, even cowards can become like heroes. But when it comes to the gospel, for maybe many of us, including me, when it comes to defending, witnessing the gospel, even mighty big guys can become small little kid. You don't dare to say anything. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever felt that way? How then are we able to overcome this fear? How then are we able to witness Christ in a way that is faithful, wise, and not afraid of persecution? 2 points we will see from Philippians 1, 27 to 30. I'm going to read for you, okay? So, this is the ESV. Saya akan bacakan, Bapak Ibu Saudara, kalau pakai bahasa Indonesia juga nggak apa-apa, okay? This is Philippians 1, 27 to 30. Only let your I'm just going to read from here. You get okay? Only let your manner of life be worthy of the gospel of Christ, so that whether I come and see you or am absent, I may hear of you that you are standing firm in one spirit, with one mind, striving side by side for the faith of the gospel, and not frightened in anything by your opponents. This is a clear sign to them of their destruction, not of your salvation, and that from God. For it has been granted to you that for the sake of Christ you should not only believe in Him, but also suffer for His sake, engaged in the same conflict that you saw I had, and now here that I still have. Now, how do we witness the gospel in a way that is courageous? I think I only have 2 points. We need to look at the calling of the gospel and the comfort of the gospel. Okay? Jadi di dalam teks ini kita akan melihat 2 hal. Bagaimana kita bisa memberitakan atau menjadi orang yang tidak takut ya. Adalah satu dengan panggilan kita, the calling, and the comfort. Penghiburan, panggilan dan penghiburan. Let's look at our text. Okay, let's look at what does it mean to the calling of the gospel. If you look at verse 27 again, it starts with only let your manner of life be worthy of the gospel of Christ. See, in the Greek, only means above all, at all costs. There's only one and only thing. See, Paul is saying to us, hey folks, if you forget everything else that I just wrote, because the guy just wrote 36 verses, right? If you forget all of that, this is the one thing I want you to remember. Perhatian, gitu ya. Perhatian. What is it? Only let your manner of life be worthy of the gospel of Christ. Nah, life worthy. When we talk about life worthy, it's so abstract, right? Maksudnya apa nih? Hidup berpadan dengan hidup itu kan abstrak banget gitu ya. What does it mean? Now, in the Greek, life is actually the word that means not just living as usual, but it actually has a political overtone. Okay? It actually means to live properly as citizen, or to conduct yourself as citizen. A simple example, when I was in the US, obviously I am an Indonesian, right? An Indonesian student in my college. Now, I'm aware that I'm a foreigner in a foreign country. So, the least I can do is be a good student, right? So that people will see, okay, orang Indonesia itu rajin, orang Indonesia itu baik, gitu ya. But unfortunately, that's not always the case. In my college, Indonesians have the reputation of being very loud. And they always pass around exams. Jadi apa tuh? Past papers. So when they have exam, oh ini dari apa? Kakak dulu gitu ya. So we have a reputation. Well, be careful Indonesians. They know all the exams. Be careful Indonesians. So I don't know whether we have a good reputation or a crafty. Nggak tahu ya, reputasinya itu baik atau wah ini apa cerdik seperti merpati. Oh ulang ya. So it's the same. So Paul is saying here, the way you behave represent your country, right? Now, Paul is saying, look, hey, you in believers in Philippi, the way you behave in Philippi, people will see. Live in such a way that they can see how majestic Christ is, how beautiful the gospel is, and how loving Christians are. Amen? Hiduplah dengan cara, hiduplah sehingga dunia atau masyarakat bisa melihat betapa indahnya Tuhan, betapa mulianya Injil, dan betapa mengasihinya orang Kristen itu. Live in such a way. Why is it important? It's because of this. You know, if you are in Sunday school, you know. If you want to teach children, you can't just tell them, right? You have to show them. You have to use an object lesson. Harus ada alat peraganya, right? Why? Because we as human beings, it's very hard for us to get grasp an abstract idea. Especially for those of us who doesn't like to read and things like that, right? And we have a lot of big concepts, right? We have things like predestination. What is that? Nasi kuning. Apa itu? Predestinasi. Kalau nasi ya, predestinasi saya nasi gitu. Nah, you know those big words and how do we get that? And the best way we have to see them lived out. We have to see them concretely. Selanjutnya, concretely, yeah, it's very hard to accept ideas. Abstractly, we have to see them lived out concretely. sulit kita menangkap ide itu abstrak. Kita harus lihat kehidupan yang konkret, kayak gitu. Nangkap ide abstrak susah, melihat kehidupan konkret lebih mudah. Ya. For instance, nowadays we have people would say, we must have a Christian view of marriage. Right? So we're going to follow the gospel, we're going to do this A, B, and C. The Christian view of marriage is such a beautiful picture of a harmonious family. But what happens if people go inside the church, walk into the church, and they see Christians having the same marital problems? That Christian couples, they bicker at home, they have unhappy relationship, they got divorced, they have abuse. Gak ada bedanya gitu. If you tell me that Christian marriage is awesome, but then I see you not living that faith, why should I follow the gospel? Mengerti ya saudara? Sederhana sekali. Sociology, actually this is called the plausibility structure. Plausibility structure means the gospel has to be plausible, masuk akal gitu. Injil harus masuk akal, bisa diterima dengan cara melihat aslinya, contohnya. Now, recently I got a bit of taste of this as well. So, some of you know, recently I accepted a position at Petra, right? So, I was nervous because, because I'm always nervous the first time. So what should I do? So obviously in the first class, I began by telling them my story. How my plan was, I want to study in the U.S., right? I want to go to the U.S., work in the U.S., live in the U.S., marry, not U.S. but Indonesian in the U.S. Jangan salah, jangan tahu sudah. Kok menikah sama Indonesia tapi di Amerika gitu. But obviously the whole thing went sideways, and God unexpectedly, I told something that I never thought possible, something that I never thought desirable or profitable, and I became a pastor. I answered the calling that God has put upon my life. Now, you know this. I'm not going to tell more. But then, so I began telling my students this. This is my basic tendency. My purpose of life changed. And then I asked them, okay, class, this is first time, so no lesson today. Senang kan? Yes, okay. So I asked them to please tell me, one of you, as you introduce yourself in the class, please tell me, why are you in this class? And number two, what are you expecting in this class? What do you want? What do you want to get out of this class? Kamu mau dapat apa dari kelas ini? And I said to them, and guys, please, it's okay to be honest. If you're here just because it's your schedule, just say so. Okay. Because I know, I've been in your shoes, I know what college life is, right? Sometimes, kamu dipaksa, gitu kan. Nah, so everyone's basically, about 80-90% told me that, yeah, I'm here because it fits my schedule. I'm here because I'm forced to do so. I'm here because my mom and the school asked me to, basically all those common reasons why they have to be in my ethics class. But there's one guy, this one dude, he looks scary. Ada preman gitu lah, sedikit ya. His hair is, he's a medical. He got a bit blonde, dyed a bit blonde. He looks a bit menacing. And he stood up and he told me, "Yeah, I'm here in this class because it fits my schedule. I don't expect to learn anything. I'm just here to come, study, do my thing, and then move on." But after I heard you share your story, I'm inspired, he said. Now, I want to know what my life purpose is. Saya senang sekali. I'm so happy. Thank you. Thank you. So I maintained my calm composure, but in my heart I was sleeping with joy. So, that's simple, right? I'm just sharing my story. He saw it, and he think maybe I can learn something from this guy. And I do hope that I can help him to find his life purpose. So that's the first point, okay? So our calling is simple. We got to embody the gospel. So ideas is concept, right? You got to embody them. Bahasa Indonesia itu mengejawantahkan, ya. Bahasa keren banget Indonesia. Mengejawantahkan, mewujudkan, menjelmakan, ya. So embody the gospel. Now, Paul, okay, so we must live, we must embody the gospel, we must make it concrete. How does it look like practically? Let's go back to the text. I think next one. Okay, thank you. Only let the man of life be worthy of the gospel of Christ, so that whether I come and see you or am absent, I may hear you that you are standing firm in one spirit, with one mind, striving side by side for the faith of the gospel, and not frightened in anything by your opponents. So, how does this look like practically? Number one, Paul is saying you gotta stand and strive side by side. Okay? This is a military metaphor. So Paul is saying, okay, what makes a good army? What makes a strong army? A strong army is not mainly made of numbers, right? A strong army is made of teamwork. Right? It's made of cohesiveness. Cohesiveness, kekompakan, right? So, if you have the right formation, you have the right battalion, you have the right people, even a small army can defeat a bigger army, right? Because it's compact, cohesive, teamwork, tight, right? That's what Paul is saying. So, you gotta stand side by side, and one more, it says, standing firm in one spirit, one mind. So, not only just compact, but also united. United in one spirit, in one mind. See, I think this goes beyond just belonging to the same church, or having the same agenda, or having the same program. Unity here has to be anchored in something deeper, something unshakable. Because human spirit, human passion, semangat kita, it's short term, can be easily quenched. But here, the Holy Spirit, one spirit, I do believe spirit there, some says that's the human spirit, but I think it still goes to Holy Spirit, and it connects to that. I'm saying that regardless of what happens, the Holy Spirit bounds us together. And finally, Paul says, so united, cohesive, and don't be frightened. Don't be intimidated. Now, in the US, I've never encountered this, but have any of you had an experience facing a bear? Beruang. Beruang ya, bukan beruang lain. Kalau beruang semua punya beruang. So do you know a couple of? I think maybe we'll share this some pointers, but there are some strategies if you find a bear. There's different strategies for different bear. So, for instance, they say, or at least from what I did a bit of research on, if you encounter a black bear, what do? Do you run or do you fight? Actually, if you encounter a black bear, make a lot of noise. I mean, you basically you can be aggressive. Don't be intimidated. Make a lot of noise, stomp around, yell, especially if you are in a campground. You're not in this territory, okay? You are somewhere closer to a weapon or something, and make some noise. Go away, bear! I'm bigger than you, bear, right? And then the black bear usually will go away. Now, if the black bear does attack you, you can fight them. Well, try to fight them. Try to fight them. Because it's generally smaller, I think. That's with black bear. Now, next one, what happens if you meet this guy? What do? Grizzly bear. Pray. Yeah, number one rule, according to this guy, is a bear's, number one is stay calm. Okay. Don't scream or turn back. Do not run. It will chase you. Bears can motor up to 35 miles per hour. Berapa itu kilometernya? Kali sendiri ya, 1,6. Give it space. Say hello out loud in your most soothing yoga teacher voice. Hi bear, I'm human. get the hell out of here, please. Yeah, and slowly back away, but here's the thing: if the bear attacks you, according to experts, the best way is you play dead. You play dead. Just pura-pura mati gitu loh. What happens, when the grizzly bear is attacking and you are maybe scout, just playing dead, he will attack you as if you are his toy. Okay, he'll just knock you around, and then you pray. Pray that the bear did not hit any vital point, because you cannot fight him. Because the guy is just too big. Look at that. I mean, So just pray that he's done with you, he's bored with you, and then just play dead. How about this guy? Next one, panda bear. No, I think you have some experience with that. So with panda bear, they might look cute, fuzzy, and funny, but please approach with caution. Because panda bear, according to Kung Fu Panda, do you know Kung Fu? No. But panda bear is actually quite ferocious, They have a strong bite. So be careful. And so you gotta know your opponent. If you want to play with a bear, all of you will know the safest bear, right? Teddy bear. Good. Teddy bear is not black bear, no. Teddy bear. The point of telling you this, just like in the animal world, okay? In the animal world, when you have an opponent, an animal kind of aggressive, sometimes the best way is to be bigger than them. Don't be intimidated. Don't be scared. Don't run away. If you run away, then things might go even worse for you. But fight. Stand. At least stand your ground. Stand your ground. So Paul says, don't be intimidated. It's easy, I understand, for Christians to be intimidated right now. Don't be. Why not? Isn't the world, the devil, they have the power to harm us? Yes and no. As Jesus said, they can kill the body, but not the soul. And the living God is looking after you. And more particularly, if you look at the New Testament point of view, okay? If you look at the New Testament, masih belum? Point of view is that Jesus Christ is already Lord. Jesus Christ is already the King of the world. So, and other people have not realized that as yet. Now, actually it's been shown, so I'll just go to my next view. So practically this means, if you are united and you are striving side by side, you're not frightened, that means embodying the gospel, have a defensive and an offensive posture. Okay? In the defensive posture, we need to be united. We need to be united. I think it's a bit sad, and I know it's part of me. It's part. I can feel that it's also part of my fault. But remember during the bomb, Surabaya bomb, when the bomb happened, immediately after that, obviously at night you got all the churches, all the people of Surabaya coming to, Tugu Pahlawan, right? Have a night vigil, and usually you wait until a big accident to happen, and then all the churches start to be united. It's a bit ironic and it's a bit sad. If there's nothing, then every church is on its own, right? But when you have bam, bomb, terrorism, then okay, kita bisa ngapain ya? Meeting, gitu kan. We should not be like that. I love that. In Protestantism, we have denominations. I mean that for me it's a wonderful expression of diversity. For me, it's wonderful. It's like colors of the rainbow in a way. However, diversity must not become a roadblock to unity. But Jacob puts it always like this: essence is more important than expression. Always says that. The esensi lebih daripada ekspresi. Kalau kita setuju di esensi, kita itu bisa bergabung, kita bisa bersatu. Tapi kalau ekspresi melulu, ya repot. The way I put it is like this. Yang kecil jangan dibesar-besarkan. Yang besar jangan dikecil-kecilkan. The small, don't sweat the small stuff. Like whether we use drums or we use baptism kit, we do believers baptism or infant baptism, small things. But the big stuff, don't underestimate and ignore it. The big stuff like what? The belief in the triune God, the infallibility of the scriptures, the exclusivity of Jesus Christ. Those are the main tenets of Christianity. Never, ever compromise that. So yes, we need to be united, but with a strong foundation. Because the fact of the matter is, unity is attractive, right? Unity is attractive. If people see the church united, instead of bickering, disagreeing, critiquing, jangan gereja sana, gereja sesat tuh, gitu kan? If we can find a common ground, and I believe our common ground is simple, the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? The gospel of Jesus Christ, mere Christianity, says C.S. Lewis. We can agree on that. United church is an attractive church. And also remember, belum, kok ubah sendiri? Ini kenapa ini? Ini siapa ini? Siapa pasang? belum. Reputation, okay? We need to take care of our reputation as well. Defensively speaking, we must not acquire a reputation for being rude or uncivil. Because the fact of the matter is, no matter how smart you are, no matter how rich you are, no matter how powerful you are, if you don't treat people well, nobody will listen, right? Ya? Gak peduli saya, saudara mau sepintar apa, mobil sebanyak apa, tapi kalau nggak bisa menghargai orang lain, nggak ada yang mau dengar saudara. Nggak ada yang mau dengar saudara. So as Christians, we need to work on this. And I'm also feel we all share the blame here. But if we live with the honesty, integrity, loving, kind, we might not have so much money, we might not drive the latest Bentley, but people will listen, or at least they consider listening to us, because they'll see, okay, there's something about the gospel that can make someone like that be a kind person, a loving person, a forgiving person, a patient person, right? Now, offensively speaking, we must be aware of our role in transforming the society. I mean, sometimes, one of the images that we like to use about the church, and maybe I'm also need to fix this a bit or balance this a bit. The church is the family of God, right? We have this image of a family. With the image of the family, if you think about family, what do you think? Usually, family means safe, warm, secure, love, forgiveness, kind. Right? Don't show emotions, Asians. Right? That's family. But the church, yes, it's a family. But sometimes we forget there's another image, isn't it? The church is also a family. One pastor puts it, the church is also a battleship. Battleship. It's not a cruise ship. It's a battleship. We are equipped here to do works out there. And I just learned recently that the word mass, misa, in the Catholic Church, mass, you know what mass means? Mass means sent out. Sent out. So, we gather to be sent out. We gather to be filled and then, okay, this is good, thank you very much. So, misa, dismiss, sent out. We got to be thinking like that. We are a battleship church. Here we receive training, we have discipline, we obey authority, even though sometimes we might not like the authority, right? But in a cruise ship, if you don't like the captain, you can pick another cruise ship. You don't like the church, you don't feel my needs, then go to another church that feels my needs. But in a battleship, you stick with the commander, as long as the commander obeys to the higher authority, which is in our case the scripture, right? Scripture. And in the battleship, we are trained, we got discipline, and we get medals for doing our mission. So, I think we need to reclaim the battle image of the church, the battle image, not just the family image. Important, wonderful, significant as it may be. We are in a battle. So how can we as Christians participate in community, in national life? What does it look like to witness our faith in universities, in the politics, in marketplace, in business, in hospitals, in court trials. Now I want to suggest to you when I say, okay, let's penetrate society, let's become politicians. I'm not all of you to get scared, right? No. That's not for me. But let me suggest you a couple of things. We can do witness. We can have an active role in transforming our society. Let's start simple. Let's start closer to us. I'm thinking about, I see many, I'll get to the family, but I'll see many singles in this room, right? You know, when we talk about wedding today, people talk about, let's plan a wedding, not I'm going to get married. Wedding and marriage is different, right? Now, wedding today is about what? It's a display of wonderful love. I like that. Bago yours. I like this one. Really cool picture, right? And you see that? You got couples, this is called mobile lovers. Mobile lovers. So, they might look like they are loving each other, but they're actually loving themselves. You see, if you look at, especially in Surabaya, right? Today, the singles people think that if there is no wedding video, if there is no pre-wedding photos, if there is no 1,000 guests, if there is no artist or performer speaking in my wedding, it's not wedding. Itu ide dari mana? Where does that come from? Why you have? See, because it's funny, isn't it? Wedding industry is about competition. Novelty is about It's about one-upmanship. You know one-upmanship? It's about ngalahin, lebih kuat-kuatan. Gua ngundang Syahrini, gua ngundang yang lain lebih tinggi lagi gitu siapa? Siapa sih sekarang yang kenal? Ya, siapa lah? Siapa? Ya, menang-menangan gitu. Tanding-tandingan. Wedding is about who got a better cake, who got the better performer, right? Who get the better venue. What is the message? It's not about everyone wants to, it's the display of our love, right? What's important is to be seen. Wedding in our context is about the realization of our romantic dreams. But the Bible paints a different picture, isn't it? The Bible says marriage is mission. Amen? Betul kan ya? Right? Marriage is mission. Atau kalau orang Indonesia bilang ngomongnya, pernikahan itu ibadah. Betul itu. Marriage means we bear witness. We are signposts. We are signposts of a greater reality, which is what? Ephesians 5. Jesus and the church. So what happens when you start thinking, just hold up, okay? I'm not saying if you are about to be married and you want to have a pre-wedding photos in Paris, please go ahead. So I'm not against that. And by the way, if you go to Paris, don't forget to invite me. Thank you. But I'm saying, how does it look like to create a wedding that blesses others? Kayaknya gimana ya? Ada kebingungan. Instead of look at us, look at our wonderful journey, look at how romantic we are. But instead, we can think about how can we use this to bless others, to show that we are human, we are united. This is not a smooth road. There's one song that's called "Bless This Broken Road." Bless this broken road. It is a broken road. It's hard. How can we, as couples, give a different message? Marriage mission. It's hard, but Jesus is here. How can we design a kind of wedding or marriage? Now, that's for the singles. Now, for parents, maybe instead of thinking about how do we engage the culture in politics, right, in marketplace, how about we start in our own family? I'm saying we must embody the gospel, right? So for parents, the starting point is you witness the gospel to your children, right? Let's start there. Start small. As parents, you can pray with your children. I remember when I was small, my mom was still doing finishing her school. I remember I was first taught to pray by my grandma. Ya, emak dulu yang ngajar kita doain ya. My cousin over there. She was actually I distinctly remember every night before we go to bed. This is what my grandma always did. She would ask me to open the Bible. She would read with me, you know. Ayat 1 aku, ayat 2 kamu, gitu. Even though I don't understand a thing. just read. Aduh, ngantuk, gitu kan, bosan. But no, because it's my grandma, right? Then afterwards, close the Bible. Okay, let's pray. And my grandma always prayed on her knees. Selalu doa itu berlutut. Sebisanya dia ya, selama sehat. Betul ya ini ya? Selama sehat, selalu doa berlutut. And that image burns in my head. Gak mungkin lupa. That's the legacy. Simple. Just baca kitab. And it's not Bible study, okay? Just read the Bible. Just read the Bible. Just read the Bible. No theology lecture, doctrine 101, no, nothing like that. Not opening YouTube and see what this Pak Yakub said. No. Just read the Bible. And then close the Bible. And then pray. Simple. Maybe you can start, invest your time for your children's faith formation. Because I think you have to be intentional about it. You cannot expect that pastors of the church are ultimately responsible for that. Faith formation of your children is ultimately decided upon the parents. So invest your time. Or for those parents to be, remember this. Invest your time. Gotta be intentional. You gotta plan. How about this? How about during Lent, sebelum Paskah dulu ya, couple of churches do fast. So why don't you fast with them? Gimana kalau kita sama-sama puasa sama anak kita? It's simple. Why don't we have a celebration with parents? I know maybe it's getting difficult right now, but if you still remember the day you got baptized, usually you have a certificate, right? There's a date on it. Why don't you celebrate your spiritual birthday? And when you have a cake, and your children ask you, "Oi, what are we celebrating?" You can tell, "Yeah, we celebrate the day I got baptized." What does it mean? And you talk the gospel. It's simple. Merayakan ulang tahun rohani, bukan ulang tahun natural. Simple. One church actually gave a big candle when the people have adult baptism, give them a candle, big candle, scented candle, and the pastor will say, "Okay, every next year put the candle at your home so that your children will see, and then you tell the gospel." Nice, simple. So these are the things that we can do to witness, and the people closest to us. Okay, now the second part. This is the first part. When we do this, we know it's not going to be easy, right? The image of the battleship means what? We go to where? We go to war. And if you go to war, there are going to be casualties. There's going to be pain. There's going to be suffering. If you go to war and you return without a scratch, you're not a soldier. You're a Superman. And you're not. Okay? Only God is Superman. Okay? So, as we witness to Christ, we can expect suffering and persecution, hostile opposition. But here's the thing, Paul comforts us. Paul comforts us in verse 28b until verse 30. This is what Paul says. This is a clear sign to them of their destruction, but of your salvation, and that from God. For it has been granted to you that for the sake of Christ, you should not only believe in Him, but also suffer for His sake. Engage in the same conflict that you saw I had, and now hear that I still have. Paul comforts them by saying two things. Okay? Now pay attention. When suffering comes, so when we persevere, I think I have the next one along. When we persevere in this united, side-by-side, fearless way, this is the first comfort, Paul said. It served as a sign of destruction for non-believers and a sign of salvation for believers. And pay attention, This is from God. 28b says, close with, and that from God. What is that? That one. This united side by side, persevering, not being afraid, that, and hostile opposition coming in, all of that is from God. And just in case it's not clear, Paul says in the next verse, verse 29, one of my most favorite verse in the whole Bible, but also the most difficult verse in the Bible. It says, for it has been granted to you, not only to believe, but also to what? Suffer. For His sake, twice repeated. For His sake, not just any suffering. You get stuck in traffic, it's not suffering, okay? It's inconvenience. For His sake, twice repeated. It has been granted. That's the word for grace. LAI lebih bagus. Dikaruniakan. Bukan diberikan. Jadi maksudnya apa? Kado. It's a positive word. Suffering is a grace. Oh, suffering is a gift. What does it mean? What does this mean? Right. What does it mean? It's a sign of destruction. There's one story to illustrate. I think this is one of my it's a cool story. So, one time in Acts 5, okay, this is in the Bible, the apostles came face to face with the Jewish high council, and the council wanted to stop them from preaching. You must stop telling about Jesus. And then Peter and the apostles replied, whatever he says, and he ended with, we must obey God and not men. We must obey God and not men. So they were enraged and wanted to kill the apostles. So things got heated, right? And the apostles were threatened by the age of their lives, and then suddenly, when all hope seemed lost, Gamaliel stood up. Yeah? A Pharisee, a rabbi, stood up and basically gave his input, his senior teacher. Right? Basically, he says, you know what? Hold up. Sabar. Santai dulu. Gitu ya. Hold up. You know, in the past, there have been many people who claim to be Messiah. Many people have claimed to be gods. Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C. You can read it in X5. I forgot the name. I apologize. Just vanished in my head. So, and all of these guys, they died. The followers scattered. The movement stopped. So Gamaliel is saying, biarin aja lah. Just let them be. If this is from men, it's gonna stop. You don't have to do anything. But, so I like in X5. But if it is of God, you will not be able to overthrow them. You might even be found opposing God. Did you catch that? That means Gamaliel is saying, look guys, if these men, they continue to press on, they continue to preach the gospel, even after being attacked, persecuted, rejected, all the bad things happen to them, and yet they still march on, they still persevere, they still obey, then we must pay attention. Maybe we are the ones on the wrong side. Mungkin yang selalu kita. So that means with God, even our suffering, even our pain can be our greatest asset. It is an opportunity to show our neighbors, although we disagree with you, we love you. Because in the gospel, the message of the gospel is what? God comes not because of hate, but God comes to love us. Our kind of God is the kind of God who dies for His enemies, right? He is the kind of God that is the truth, but the truth that loves us. Now, but that's from the non-believer side, the destruction, right? Jangan-jangan kita yang salah. Kalau kita yang salah, kita melawan Tuhan. So basically, it's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call. Hey, pay attention. But from the other side, from the believer's point of view, suffering is grace. Why? Because number one, suffering produces character. That's the theme of Paul. Suffering produces character. pay attention here. God is concerned with something that most of us are not really concerned of. God is concerned ultimately with our spiritual health. God is concerned with our spiritual growth. Or the way I put it, yang paling penting buat Tuhan itu bukan meningkatkan hidup kita, tetapi untuk menyehatkan kerohanian kita. Yeah? The most important thing, ultimately, for God, is not to make our life better, but to make us healthy spiritually. Or, as one pastor puts it, Jesus does not come to make your life better. Jesus comes to show us that He is better than life. Sometimes we must experience what we don't like in order to become a person we need to be. Let me repeat that. Sometimes we must experience what we don't like in order to be a person we need to be. Kadang kita harus mengalami atau bahkan melakukan hal yang kita nggak suka, hal yang kita nggak cocok, hal yang kepeksa, hal yang kepepet, hal yang nggak enak untuk menjadi pribadi yang kita perlu. Itu karakter. Secondly, suffering for Christ is an honor. It's an honor. That's what the point of this verse is actually. It's an honor. Romans 8:7 says, believers have the privilege of suffering with Christ. See, it's simple, right? You look at soldiers when they go back from battle. What will they be proud of? The travel mileage? Of course not, right? They'll be proud of the scars, right? Look at the bullet wounds. Nyomongnya begede gua gitu kan. Nyomongin kan. Gitu kan? Why? Proud. I got to defend my country, right? You ask athletes, if you look at Messi, everybody would surround him, right? Because he's so good. 3, 4 defenders, wow, they just smash him around, jegal, right? Now, I imagine if I'm one of the Barcelona guys, and nobody approach me. Tidak diperhitungkan gitu ya. Aduh, Messi after the game, wah lecet sana sini, wounded all over, right? Wah, I'm just clean. Nothing happened. I would be very ashamed, right? I would be very ashamed. Because that means, kagak dihitung gua. Kagak dihitung, nggak diberhitung. But when athletes, when they got tackled, when they got, when they got wounds, they're proud. Why? I got to play for my team, right? Parents, I believe that the greatest honor is for you to sacrifice for your kids, right? When you are in pain, in order for your children to feel better, you're not complaining, right? Somehow you're proud, right? Now I get to be a parent. This is what parents means. To sacrifice for my children. The question becomes this. Isn't God bigger than sports team? Isn't God bigger than your country? Isn't God bigger than your family? So, that means, shouldn't we be more honored if we have been suffering for Him? Bapak Ibu Saudara, kapan sih terakhir kali kita menderita buat Kristus? When was the last time I actually suffered for Jesus' sake? When was the last time? I remember a couple of years ago, I was driving to a Bible study. Okay. I was preparing, I was going to lead youth Bible study, college Bible study. And I was listening to musik rohani. I was listening to gospel songs. I was listening to church songs. I was singing. I was happy, right? I was on my way. I'm doing ministry, right? And then suddenly, bam! A loud noise coming from behind. Somebody just hit me on the back. Nanti tabrak, saudara. Just in case you don't get what I'm saying, okay? Jadi tabrak dari belakang. Ditabrak. I was hit on the back. And this is the first thing that popped into my head. It's a funny little thought. Dianiaya bagi Injil. I suffered for Jesus Christ. I was like, I suffered for Jesus Christ. I was driving and somebody said, hit me behind. I thought I was suffering for Him. Itu bukan menderita buat Kristus. Itu sok menderita namanya. That's not suffering for Christ. That's just, I don't know. Stop suffering. I know you're just trying to suffer, but you're not suffering for Christ. So again, when was the last time that because of your faith you actually experienced loss? Because of your faith. When was the last time you go out of your comfort zone because you try to obey the word of God? When was the last time you are abandoned, you are rejected, you are misunderstood, you are betrayed, you are hated because you say, I'm going to obey God and not obey man? When was the last time? This is a difficult question for all of us. It's a difficult question for me. It's very difficult for me as well. But I want you to consider this before I close. Consider this. Who is it that left the greatest comfort zone of all to be with us? Who is it that suffered first for us? Who is it that gave the greatest sacrifice for us? Who is it that gets abandoned, gets rejected, gets hated, gets betrayed, gets killed for us? Who is it? Jesus, right? That means, church, if you truly realize what I just said, that means all the things that we think we must do for God, actually, He has done it first to us. This is the gospel. Mengerti saudara, nangkap ya? Apa yang harusnya kita kira lakukan untuk Tuhan? Berkorban bagi Dia, memuji Dia, kasih uang lah, apalah. Ternyata Tuhan duluan sudah lakukan kepada kita. Dia sudah mengorbankan anaknya, sudah menderita di kayu salib, dia sudah memberikan nyawanya bagi kita. Our sacrifice is such a small price to pay. Because Jesus has done it for us. And the final comfort, it comes from verse 30. It comes from verse 30 that says, engage in the same conflict that you saw I had, and now here that I still have. Final comfort is, Paul is saying, look at me. Church, you are not alone. In your struggle to witness the gospel, you are not alone. Others have gone before you. Others have gone before you. They have suffered maybe worse than you. They have suffered loss maybe worse than you, and yet they persevere, and yet they move on, and yet they can overcome. Look, if you find it difficult to find those people, read biographies. Look at the martyrs, look at the missionaries, look at what they have done. You're not alone. You're not alone. See, at the end of the day, everyone is called to a different level of sacrifice, but no one is called to live without a sacrifice. Saya ulang ya. Everyone is called to a different level of sacrifice, but no one is called to live without a sacrifice. Semua orang panggilnya beda-beda untuk pengorbanan. Tetapi tidak ada satu pun dari kita orang percaya yang tidak dipanggil untuk tidak berkorban. Ngerti ya? Paham ya? See, I don't know what's going to happen in decades. I don't know. I'm not very smart. But let me tell you these two things: good news and bad news. According to you, is the world getting more religious or less religious? Global scale. Global, okay? What do you think? Is the world getting more religious or less religious? Less religious? Everybody agrees? Praise the Lord, you guys are all wrong. Salah semua. No. The world on a global scale is more religious. It's more religious actually. Now I have to clarify. Religious doesn't mean believe in Jesus. Religious simply means people are still hungry at looking or meeting some sort of a transcendent being. They're hungry for God. That's why in the US, they have a couple of, there's a segment called I am spiritual but not religious. So they might reject the church, They might reject all the, the institutions, but they are hungry for the divine encounter. The world is getting more religious. So it's good news for us, actually. It's good news for us. It means we can still, we have a chance to spread the gospel. But the bad news is, as we continue to live like this, Christians are getting increasingly, marginalized, right? We are getting increasingly, it's very hard now to speak openly about our faith in public. Right? One word, one statement, it can put us in jail, right? Especially in Indonesia. You're not careful about things that you say, especially about religion, you might get in trouble, right? As business owners, maybe in the future, more Christian business owners will face lawsuits when they try to run their businesses according to their principles. Here in Indonesia, maybe we might get more and more religious freedom restricted. I don't know. But let me leave you with this thought. When God changed the world, during the first century, okay? When God changed the world, the Roman Empire, from worshipping Caesar, from worshipping Zeus, worshipping the sky, the sea, the rock, the tree, and they start worshipping Jesus, and the whole empire changed. When God changed that world, did He use a safe church or a persecuted church? He used a what? A persecuted church. Waktu Tuhan mengubah dunia, bukan gereja yang enak-enak yang dipakai Tuhan, tapi gereja yang menderita. If God can change the world with a persecuted church in the past, that means God can change the world today with a persecuted and suffering church. Our pain, our suffering is our greatest asset. Let's pray.